This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Coming at you, as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM. Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Ladies and gentlemen, I got some news. I got some news for you. Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? Because the unthinkable is happening. The unthinkable has the potential to transpire before our very eyes. If we blink, we might miss it. If we fall asleep, we might wake up thinking we're a bit delusional, like we're hallucinating or something. Ladies and gentlemen, stop the presses. Stop the presses. Brace yourself for what I'm about to say to you because it is incredibly important. It matters. It means everything. And you know what that is? The New York Knicks actually have a chance of being relevant. I mean, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Because I got news for you. When news came down, according to some insiders out there, that the Boston Celtics and Danny Ainge may indeed entertain talks to move Kyrie Irving. You know what I was thinking about, right? I was thinking about the New York Knicks. That's what I was thinking about. I don't know about everybody else, but I know what the hell I was thinking about. I'll tell you that right now. Kyrie Irving approaching the last year of his contract. This brother scheduled to make $20,099,000 next season before opting out, looking for a max deal. By the way, Nuno, Kat, John, I'm sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't I report this weeks ago? Didn't I report this days ago that Danny Ainge and the Boston Celtics would think about moving Kyrie Irving? I mean, far be it for that to matter. Because after all, I'm hosting First Take and I'm hosting radio. And God forbid that everybody under the sun who always calls me for interviews throughout the country, I mean, far be it for me to expect that somebody would actually pick up a quote. Pick up a quote about something that I said that's relevant to the industry instead of trying to do other things to me, but that's neither here nor there. I'll get to that in a minute. The thing about it is that Kyrie Irving and the mere potential of him being traded all of a sudden puts the New York Knicks in the mix. For those of you who don't know what's been going on, the LeBron James sweepstakes are in full effect. The Boston Celtics are going to be one of the teams they actually listen to if it comes to that. Boston has youth. Boston has talent. Boston has various other assets as it pertains to draft picks and beyond to make a deal happen that LeBron James could land in Boston. Do I see it happening? Absolutely not. Could it happen? Is it impossible? No, it is not impossible. And even though LA and Philly and Cleveland and Miami and even the Clippers are expected to be in the mix, everybody knows that if you are LeBron James, the Los Angeles Lakers are considered to be the number one option as your destination spot. But other teams are not giving up. And if you are Boston, you got to move in a different direction. Terry Rozier and Marcus Smart have elevated their level of play. As a result of elevating their level of play, combined with the fact that you got Gordon Hayward returning, you got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum there along with Al Horford. If you're Danny Ainge, you're thinking about making a move. And that move that you're thinking about making may very well involve Kyrie. And why is Kyrie relevant to the New York Knicks? Because, ladies and gentlemen, he was on their short list. The Knicks were on his short list when he told Dan Gilbert, the owner for the Cleveland Cavaliers, that he wanted to be traded last summer. The New York Knicks didn't have enough to give him. They didn't have enough assets. And because they didn't have enough assets, that's why they weren't going to be a part of that mix. But Kyrie Irving, I'm here to tell you, as the person who interviewed him, as the person who he showed up on and sat in for 2 hours. The only interview he did at that time, by the way, Kyrie Irving specifically told me the New York Knicks were on his list. They were definitely a team he was interested as a landing spot. And why is this big news, ladies and gentlemen? It's very simple. When the hell is anybody ever interested in the Knicks? That's why it's big news. I mean, if you Tim Hardaway and you're lucky that people remember your name and suddenly the Knicks give you $71 million, you don't mind going to the Knicks. You Kristaps Porzingis, you don't have a choice. They drafted you. But anybody else worth their salt, let's just say the New York Knicks have not been on their high list of priorities. And if Kyrie Irving ends up saying this is a place where he wants to be, and the Knicks have a snowball's chance in hell of getting him, ladies and gentlemen, that in and of itself is a cause for celebration. Because that's how desolate and demoralizing this situation with the Knicks has been for so many years. This is where we are. This is what we have to think about. This is what we must consider as we move forward. Nothing's a foregone conclusion. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it's a beautiful thing. If Kyrie, forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, if I want to start off my show with my fantasy. I mean, everybody knows nobody in the NBA needs LeBron James more than the New York Knicks. Not even Cleveland. You had him for 11 years. You had him for the last 4. He delivered a championship for you in 4 straight trips to the NBA Finals. The Knicks haven't been to the finals since 1999. They haven't won a championship since 1973. And oh, by the way, they've never had a true superstar. Melo was a star. Patrick Ewing was a star. Bernard King was a star. Walt Clyde Frazier and Earl of Pearl Monroe were stars. I'm talking superstar. Knicks haven't had it. Never had it. You want to give me DeBusschere and Bradley and Willis Reed and Earl of Pearl Monroe and you know, Walt Clyde Frazier? Fine. I'm saying to you, they were devoid of a superstar. They've never had it. LeBron James applies. Can't see him coming to New York, though, but I'll be proud of Fizdale if he at least gets the interview. In the case of Kyrie Irving, this is the brother that desperately wants his own franchise. He wants to be the face of a franchise. He wants to bring what he wants to bring to the table. He wants to be recognized as that franchise player. And he don't mind the challenge. My question about Kyrie Irving would be his knees. My question about him would be how long he could go. And boy, am I rooting for this brother, because skill-wise, the brother's worth $200 million. Skill. If Kyrie Irving is healthy, how the hell is he not worth $200 million? But Chris Paul gets $200 million. Or Kyle Lowry gets $100 million. Or Russell Westbrook gets $217 million. I know Kyrie is no Russell Westbrook. But Kyrie's a bad brother. Make no mistake about it. And in today's NBA economy, is Kyrie Irving worth $200 million? You're damn right he is. Healthy. Not healthy? Absolutely not. So that is where we are. He's approaching the last year of his contract. He's expected to be a part of the class of 2019, which means he'll be in the same class as Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, just to name a few. And if the Knicks have a shot at getting him, that would be something beautiful. Because that is the Knicks' plan, in case y'all haven't been paying attention to it. Steve Mills, president, Scott Perry, GM, basically know there's but so much they're going to be able to do this year, particularly with Porzingis not even expected to be ready until January after that nasty knee injury he suffered. So what you have is a situation where the New York Knicks will probably look bad this year and position themselves for 2019. At which time, Scott Perry, with the relationships that he has with his knowledge of players, along with Steve Mills, so long as James Dolan doesn't get in their way, they should be fine. And that is where we can go with this. This is what we can look forward to. But prior to that, this is what the Knicks situation is. And it ain't the same for the Los Angeles Lakers. We have seen reports about Kyrie. We have seen reports about Paul George and how Oklahoma City is expected to offer him the max because of that, he probably won't leave. We have seen reports that LeBron James is heading to Los Angeles, although no one knows that definitively. Either way you slice it, with Kuzma, with Ingram, with Randall, with Lonzo Ball. Obviously, when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, the time is now. We don't want to say this, and I'm saying this because I'm very, very confident in Magic Johnson. I'm saying this because I believe in him. I'm saying because he's Irvin Magic Johnson, a basketball savant, a champion personified, one of the greatest leaders this sport has ever seen. I am here to tell you, if Irvin Magic Johnson doesn't get LeBron and doesn't get Paul George this summer, it's a failure. Got to get one of them. Can't miss out on both. You can't have LeBron go somewhere else and Paul George stay in Oklahoma City and you're still looking at the Lakers as successful. No. Dominoes will fall because we've been praising Luke Walton, and I like Luke Walton. And I believe in him as a coach, and I'm proud of the development I've seen from some of these players under his watch. But Luke Walton might be in trouble if they don't get anybody in free agency and you got to go on the court next year with the same team. Luke Walton might have some problems. The development of Lonzo Ball, we've all realized he's had a high basketball IQ. But that go-get-it mentality, that ain't who Lonzo Ball is. He ain't trying to wreak havoc. He's not trying to tear the house down. He's not somebody who appears interested in being a star when he's on the court playing basketball. Lonzo Ball wants to fit in. Lonzo Ball is perfectly content walking the ball up past half court and passing it, taking 5 shots a game, averaging 5 points a game, and the Lakers winning. He don't mind. Now, do I want to see that from the number 2 overall pick? Absolutely not. I want to see more. But I won't deny the fact that he is unselfish. He is selfless. He does work hard. And he does have a high basketball IQ. He defends. He's got good size on him. He can develop. The jury is still out on him, but I believe in him. And because I believe in him, I'm here to tell you. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, you don't want to go another season with just the young troops, with Brook Lopez as your center. You don't want to do that, Magic Johnson. You got to get one of these brothers, preferably LeBron. But if you don't get LeBron, you better get Paul George, and the preference would be that you get both of them. Because I don't know if Klay's going to leave Golden State in 2019. I don't know if Jimmy Butler, if you're going to even want Jimmy Butler in 2019. Danny Ainge, a year to figure out what he wants to do with Kyrie Irving. Why would he help the Lakers? Boston's got 17 titles. Lakers 16. Why would he help the Lakers? So all of these things are things to consider, pay attention to, and recognize this might not be the way to go. Might not be the way to go. All I'm saying is these are the kind of things you got to take into consideration. If you're the New York Knicks and Kyrie Irving wants to be there, got to figure out a way to make that happen. Try your best. I don't know if you'll be able to pull it off, but try your best. Because Kyrie at the Garden, Kyrie Irving at the Garden, that would be something special. It really, really would. New Jersey native with roots in the Bronx because of his daddy. I got to tell you, Mitchell Projects and the whole, oh, please, come on now. Kyrie Irving at the Garden, I'd love it. LeBron in L.A., I'd love that too. But Magic's got some problems because he's got competition. He's going to have to figure out a way to pull that off. 888-SAY-ESPN, that's 888-729-3776. We'll talk about that as this show progresses. By the way, that was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. We'll talk about that. We'll definitely get into that in terms of Kyrie and where his landing spots may end up being. I'm going to get into Kawhi Leonard and the San Antonio Spurs. I'm definitely going to get into more Magic Johnson and the bubble that he's under. Also going to transition to a little football action because Antonio Brown made news because of his sounding off against the media. And, of course, get into a little golf. Michael Collins going to come on and talk to us about what Tiger Woods going to do. Tiger Woods. Let me transition to a personal matter. It's been brought to my attention that this is actually a story. It's actually a story that's circulated nationwide. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess it's official. I guess I really am box office. Because never in my wildest dreams did I believe a story would go national off of something that I said. And especially since I said it like 8 months ago. I mean, you don't expect to come into the office every day and hear about a quote that you gave in October. But nevertheless, that's where we are. In the aftermath of Snoop Dogg appearing on my television show, First Take on ESPN every weekday from 10 a.m. to noon, he and Magic Johnson showed up. And in the aftermath of that, Snoop has his own show on the internet. He's been a guest on First Take on many, many occasions, not to mention Sports Center. And he asked me to come on. And me personally, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very, very simple philosophy. You do for me, I'm going to try to do for you. Snoop Dogg, anytime I've asked him to come on, he's made himself available. Snoop Dogg came on at 7 a.m. L.A. time. Walked in the studio at 7 a.m. for yours truly. So when he asked me to come on the show, not a problem at all. He's interviewed candidates. He's interviewed Larry King. He's interviewed various other folks. Asked me to come to the compound. I thought that was a studio. It really, really was a compound. And he couldn't have been more hospitable. He asked me various questions about my career and what have you. And then we went to a quick rapid fire question. And he said, what's your preference? Hot or cold? He said, burgers or tacos? And then he used the word referring to a woman's cleavage or a woman's backside. What do you prefer? I answered the question. Unfortunately for myself, I answered the question like I always ask every question. Very, very honestly and matter-of-factly. Not thinking anything of it. Evidently, it's a big deal. USA Today's writing about it. Lord knows what other publications. It's all over it's gone viral. It's everywhere. I guess it's appropriate to apologize. And the reason why I say that is because of the attention it's brought to my employers, obviously for the wrong reasons. And I have to own that. Now, I don't want to come across as sounding nonchalant or anything. I'm just being honest to you. I've always answered the question the same way. And I've been answering the question the same way since I've been in this business over 25 years. Angelo Cataldi in Philadelphia, Michael Kay in New York, various other interviews throughout the country because I've been interviewed by practically everybody. And anytime I've been asked that specific question, I've literally given the same answer. I gave the same answer 8 months ago. And I walk into the office today and something that I said 8 months ago is national news. And for that, I apologize. I apologize to ESPN. I apologize to the people that work with me on this show because, ladies and gentlemen, understand something. Here's the hard part. And I'm going to confess something right now over the national airwaves. John Thompson, the former head coach at Georgetown University, once said this about me. You want to know how Stephen A. feels? Just ask him. That's how I've always been. I know times have changed. I know the advent of social media and beyond and how stories can circulate, the residual impact that it has resonates. To me personally, I'm always very confident in myself because I try to be as honest as I possibly can be. And in the process of doing that, the reason my attitude is that way is because that's the one thing that's sustainable. You can trust yourself when you're honest. If you're trying to pretend to be something that you're not, that has no lifespan, no staying power. But you know, a boss that I care for very, very dearly said this to me. And because of that, that's why I'm apologizing. I don't need a statement. I'm sure that ESPN asked me for a quote. You'll see that. But I don't need a statement. There's no prepared statement. I'm speaking straight from the heart. It's not always about you. Wasn't talking to me generally because I'm an unselfish person, but he was saying it's not always about you. It's about the lives that you affect. When I think about Jonathan Winthrop and Nuno Teixeira and Cat Pastor on this show, when I think about people like Marsha Keegan and Justin Craig and Tra Keller running radio, when I think about Norby Williamson, who's been very, very good to me, and I think about Dave Roberts, who's like a big brother, not just a boss to me, and I think about all the wonderful people here. If I get in trouble, it's a stain on the people that work with you. Because it's not just about you. It's about them too. And so when it's put to me that way, I have no problem apologizing. I really, really don't. Because I don't want to hurt anybody else. I didn't think I was doing that. I honestly didn't. But guess what? You know better. Sometimes you learn better. When you learn better, that means you know better. And when you know better, you ultimately do better. Unless you're an idiot. And I'm no idiot. I talk live on the airwaves, 2 hours a day on television. I talk another 2 hours live on radio. There is no delay, ladies and gentlemen. What you hear is what you get. There's no safety net for me. Most of the time, obviously, I don't say the wrong things. Evidently, 8 months ago when I spoke to Snoop Dogg, in answering that question the way that I answered that question, that obviously was not one of those times. Lesson learned. And that's really all I have to say about it. My apologies. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A.
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith. And you're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The subject matter at hand, LeBron's future, Kyrie's future, New York, L.A., and everything in between. You got CP3. Will he stay or go in Houston? You got Paul George. Will he stay in Oklahoma City or head to L.A.? Actually, what should he do? Should he even consider L.A.? Should he consider Philly instead? Philadelphia, what are you going to do if you don't get LeBron and you don't get Paul George? What are your options? The list goes on and on. There's so much stuff percolating in NBA free agency, not to mention the NFL. Andrew Luck is back throwing footballs. What does that mean? You got Antonio Brown making news because of the media and his complaints and what have you. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show as well. So a lot of stuff to think about right now. Can't escape it. Looking forward to talking about all of that right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Right now, let's get back to it. Let's get to DJ in Staten Island. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, DJ?
Hey, Steve. How you been, man?
I'm all right. Thank you for calling. What's up?
Okay, man. Confirming about this Kyrie to New York situation. I just want to say, honestly, Steve, you know how I felt about the Carmelo thing and how he never got the type of help when he was in New York. But this is a whole different situation. I mean, Kyrie getting traded to Boston when he should have got traded to the Knicks, but then you would have to give up KP. If they're only asking for a pick and at worst case scenario Ntilikina, I'm doing that in a heartbeat as long as
time. You and I both know a pick and Ntilikina wouldn't be enough to get Kyrie Irving. First of all, the money doesn't match. Kyrie's, come on now. You know better than that. But go ahead.
Absolutely, but that's the problem. That means you got to give up everything, and you're right back in the Carmelo Anthony situation. Because Danny Ainge, Stephen A. Danny Ainge right now is the mastermind of the NBA. Him and the guy from Houston, Daryl Morey,
yep.
They're the top two right now. They're the top two right now. So he's going to ask, it's either you wait 1 year, and the Knicks are going to be terrible anyway with or without Kyrie, because KP's not coming back until at least Christmas. At least Christmas. So I just say hold on, be patient, and then you could try your luck when he just walks away for free.
Well, you say hold on, be patient. All right, so are you looking forward to the New York Knicks having another bummer of a season?
Well, Stephen A., look, I'm 26. You're way, way older than me. My entire life, the Knicks have been terrible. So I can hold on one more year.
Okay. I appreciate the call. Appreciate the sentiment as well. Not a bad one. Let's go to Arthur in Cali. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Arthur?
Hey, what's up, Stephen A?
Hold on, stop right there. Stop right there. What do you sound like? You're a kid of Barry White or something? I need you to get more bass in your voice, talk a little bit louder, because the national audience is listening to you, and you don't need to be mumbling. Go ahead, speak up.
You're right. My bad. I just stepped away from my desk. First of all, big pleasure being on the show, Stephen. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Second, man, first of all, a huge Lakers fan, huge Kobe fan. I just want to make it very clear that I honestly do not want LeBron anywhere near here.
Why is that? Why you don't want You don't want LeBron in L.A.? Why not?
Steven, 6 finals losses, 2 sweeps, meltdown against the Cavs, got smacked by the Spurs, worst final loss ever. He's never won a title without 2 20-plus scores. 2 of them. He needs 2 20-plus scores to even taste the championship ring. He's going to come here. He's going to, I don't know. He's just hard to play with. People don't find their roles when they play.
Stop right there. My brother, you haven't made the playoffs in 5 years. The Los Angeles Lakers haven't made the playoffs in 5 years, and that 6th year, 2012, 2013, the last time you made the postseason, you got bounced out in the first round. What are you talking about? I don't give a damn about some title. If this man turns around, okay, and he's able to make the playoffs and have you become a contender, what's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that. I just personally, I know there's other superstars that we can go and get, so I'd rather just go and get a Paul George, go and get, DeMarcus that's coming off an injury. I'd rather take the bait on him than just, coming to LeBron. LeBron, what do you have him for? 3-4 more years as
What's wrong with
a strong
that?
Player?
What's wrong with that? That'll keep you relevant for the next 3 or 4 years, which you haven't been.
Like you said, though, we go get Paul George, we'd probably be in the same position. I don't know. I just can't, especially after this sweep that he just ran out of the building this year. I don't know how.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Here.
How are you going to complain about not wanting LeBron, who lost in the finals, but you have no problem with wanting Paul George, who lost in the first round?
But, Paul George, LA native, I feel like he wants to come here anyway.
Stop. I'm going to hang up on you because you're embarrassing yourself. Basically, you're telling me that because Paul George is a L.A. native and he wants to be there, that makes him more valuable when he went home in the first round than somebody who just went to 8 straight finals. Stop. Call me back tomorrow when you're making sense. John in New York, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey,
John
Stephen
in New Jersey.
How are you, brother?
I'm sorry, John in New Jersey. I apologize. Go ahead, John.
No problem, brother. Hey, first and foremost, I just want to say, when you said your sorries about what you said, that was one of the realest things that you ever said, so I salute you on that. Secondly, what would it take for them to actually get Kyrie to New York? And is there any hope that my Brooklyn Nets are a player in free agency this year? I
don't think the Brooklyn Nets are a player in free agency this year because nobody wants to come to the Nets. Sean Marks and those boys and Atkinson, they're going to have to do a job. There's no question about it. They're going to have to pull off something because right now I really, really can't see it, to be quite honest with you. The New York Knicks, that's a tricky situation, man, because I don't know how much you have to offer anybody. A matter of fact, I do know it's not much. It's just not much. When you look at the New York Knicks, man, okay, let's call it what it is. You don't have that much cap space, right? Enes Kanter has a player option of paying $18.6 million this year. He's probably going to opt out so he can get more money. So he's going to look to get paid. He's one of your better players. But this contract of Joakim Noah on the books for another $38 million over the next 2 years. You got Tim Hardaway. He's on the books for the same amount over the next 2 years before a player option kicks in at $18 million for the 2020-21 season. You look at Courtney Lee. He's still owed $25 million. You got to pay Porzingis, all right? And you got guys on here, Kyle O'Quinn, Ntilikina. Ntilikina, you just look at it, man. It's like you're in the worst possible scenario. The New York Knicks are just good enough to entertain you more than a few nights a year. But they're not good enough to make the postseason, which means they damn sure ain't good enough to win some championship or compete for one. And I just don't know. You got to pull off a 3-team deal, basically, and I don't see how they're going to do it. I think the summer of 2019, when they're expected to have a boatload of cap space, I think that's when the New York Knicks are going to be in a better position, not this summer. Thank you for the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We'll continue talking about NBA free agency before we transition to some golf, not to mention the NFL involving Andrew Luck, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and the crew. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast. Damn it, I mean it!
Back to the phones we go at 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Lenny, you're live with Stephen A. What's going on, big brother? How are you?
What's going on, big brother? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right, well, I got a couple of things real quick. I'm going to make them real quick. First off, you criticize people when people need to be criticized. I'm going to criticize you right now. Please stop singing because my dogs are howling right about now because they just heard something crazy over the radio. That's number one.
Well, what did they hear that was crazy?
They heard you singing. Bro, I love you to death, but goodly goop, stop doing it.
I love doing it, man, because I know I can't sing. I know you got to admit it gets people up. They hear me sing. They're like, what? They're like, what?
Yes, it does. It gets people up in the wrong way, though. But
it's all right.
Number two, can you give a quick shout out to my son? He graduates high school tonight. I didn't think he was going to make it. What's his name? LJ, Lynn Jr.
LJ. Congratulations, big boy. Way to go, but it doesn't stop here. This is just the beginning. Better challenges, more huge challenges are down the road. If you can conquer this one, which you did, you can conquer the rest. Keep going. Go ahead.
All right, brother. Number 3. I couldn't get through yesterday, but I'm taking KD over LeBron every day. If I'm an owner, I'm starting with the 6'10" unguardable KD. That's number 3.
Okay.
Number 4, and I know this probably can happen because they got 2 max players, but wouldn't you love to see LeBron playing with John Wall, Bradley Beal, Markieff Morris, or whichever Morris brother it is, and Gortat.
LeBron in D.C.?
Yes. Wouldn't you love to see that?
Actually, no.
What?
I'd rather see KD in D.C.
And because it's your hometown?
No, because he's a better shooter. See,
okay.
LeBron and John Wall together, even though LeBron is improved as a shooter, LeBron and John Wall together ain't shooters. Bradley Beal can shoot. I'd rather see Bradley Beal on the court with Kevin Durant than John Wall on the floor with LeBron James.
I don't know. I have to disagree with you on that one.
You can disagree all you want.
I respect your opinion because you've been doing it a lot longer.
I would rather see KD with Bradley Beal than LeBron with John Wall. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. With KD, with LeBron and John Wall, you're gonna see a lot of 2-pointers. With KD and Bradley Beal, you're gonna see a lot of 3-pointers.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I agree with you. Now you done switch me over.
All right. Thanks a lot, bro. Appreciate the call. Jose in LA, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Jose?
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Listen to you all the time.
Thank you.
I just wanted to comment on Luke Walton's future.
Go ahead.
I think more than anything, and I don't think people have really thought about it, but what better asset for LeBron than to have the former assistant coach for the Warriors as, to guide him to make a great strategy to.
You know why that doesn't matter? Why that doesn't matter? Because LeBron has gone up against Golden State over the last couple of years more than Luke Walton has. He's more familiar with Golden State than Luke is. And I think I don't think coaching makes much of a difference in that series. I'm talking about, I don't think that makes much of a difference. I don't think that should have as much of an impact. Luke Walton and helping LeBron figure out Golden State. You know what LeBron needs to figure out Golden State? More talent around him. That's what he needs.
Yeah. True that. Well, I just wanted to make that comment. But,
all right. Thank you. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Let's go to Paul in Houston. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Paul.
Stephen A., how's it going, man?
How are you, man?
Of the show.
Thank you, man. Go ahead.
I want to talk about two things. I know everybody's talking about LeBron right now, which I love. I'm a big Bron fan, but being from Houston, I want to talk about the Rockets. Number one, do we let Chris Paul walk, or do we go ahead and give him the money we promised we'd give him when we signed him initially?
Depends on how much. Depends on how much you got to give him.
Okay.
See, the problem with the problem with Chris Paul is that his game is worthy of $200+ million. His durability is not.
I would agree 100%. Second question. What do you think about Clint Capella? Most improved player, in my opinion. I know Phoenix wants to offer him a max. Well, that's a rumor. What do you think Moore is going to do with that?
I think if they don't get LeBron, they have to take care of Clint Capella. Would I say the max? No. I try to get him for a little bit less, but Clint Capella is incredibly valuable because he's a big man who plays big, but also knows how to play small in terms of his ability to run the floor, block shots, and do things of that nature. Clint Capella is incredibly valuable. I would do everything that I can to take care of him, but I would look for a hometown discount. I wouldn't pay him what the Phoenix Suns are paying him because I'm not the Phoenix Suns. You can get a little more money and go lose, or you can stay in Houston and compete for a championship. That's what I would do. Hour number 2 up next with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. NFL, golf, and more NBA free agency. Back with you in a minute.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.